Hello and welcome back to our CAD clips on AutoCAD 2008. In this lesson, I'm titling Daryl's Golden Rules. And what this is these are really the training wheels for anyone who's getting started drawing in AutoCAD. And it's a really easy four-step process, really three-step process into getting up and drawing very quickly without having to go through a whole lot of, if you're anxious and you want to get in and stuff, this is the lesson that'll actually get you up and running, and then we'll kind of slow it down in the next few lessons and go over some logistics about interface and templates and all that good stuff. But if someone was to say, I want to draw an AutoCAD right now, what do I have to do? This is really what you have to do. You have to set your units in your drawing. You have to set your drawing limits, the physical area you want to draw in, and then you simply do a zoom all, and it zooms your screen out to see that limits. And then after that, you're ready to start to draw. And if you already know a little bit about AutoCAD, this will get you up and running. Once you get better at using the software, you can kind of drop this, because this is kind of a training wheels type thing. But in the beginning, until you understand spatial measurement and units, this is the best way to get up and running. So I'm going to demonstrate that right here. Let's say, for example, I'm going to draw, a shopping center based on size and the measurements of what might be a shopping center. So I'm going to draw the shopping center. I'm going to draw it in imperial units, inches and feet, and I know the approximate size of the shopping center, so I'm going to get set up to draw this. So what I do is, the first thing I do is I set my units, and you can do this in a couple of ways. I'm just going to type in UNITS. You can see that on my cursor there, units, enter, and it jumps me into a dialog box, and I can say, okay, my units are going to be, the length is going to be architectural, which is feet and inches, and my precision, I don't need to know anything more less than half an inch. Okay, even though it will track it to 14 decimal places, I only want it to display to the half inch. Perfect. The angles are going to be decimal degrees. I'm not going to use surveyor units. Okay, the precision is going to be on angles is going to be 0.0, and that's all it's going to display to me. The insertion scale, units to scale, when I insert this, I want it to be inserted as in, I'm just going to say unitless, and that's going to make it so it's just going to take it per unit, which is fine. I'll talk about this later. Mainly, set your units here, length and precision. That's it. That's step one, done. For use with architectural and linear units, insert units should be set to be inches. Okay, sure enough, I'm going to go back and take their advice and set that to be inches. Thank you, AutoCAD. So, hit OK. Now my units are set. Now I'm going to set my limits. I'm going to type in LIMITS. Enter. I'm going to try it again. LIMITS. Enter. And it says specify, look on our command line here, and it also says it on my cursor. It says specify the lower left corner of what is going to be the area I want to draw the shopping center. So I'm going to say, okay, lower left corner, I'm going to type in 0, 0, and you can see that getting placed 0, 0. And then I hit enter. And now it says specify the upper right corner. How far up here do I want to go? Well, if my 0, 0 is my lower left, and I know the shopping center is going to be 500 feet by 600 feet in dimensions, my limits have to be bigger than that. So I'm going to say, double it. I'm going to say 1,000 feet, 1,000. Okay, look at what I'm typing. And then the foot symbol, which is an apostrophe. Okay, and then a comma, and then 1,200 feet. So my upper right is at 1,000 feet, comma, 1,200 feet, which is 1,000 in the horizontal, 1,200 feet in the vertical. I hit enter, and I'm done. Okay, if it doesn't come back to the command prompt, you might have done something wrong, and you can repeat this. The last thing, step 3, is to do what is called a zoom all. Now, if you happen to have your zooming toolbars or navigation in here, you can click on a button, but I'm just going to type in Z on the keyboard. We're trying to keep it simple. Notice that the Z shows up right here, Z, enter, and then I'm going to do A for all, A, enter. Boom, all of a sudden I am now zoomed out to an area showing me the 1,000 feet by 1,200 feet. Now I can start to draw my shopping center, so I can pick my line tool and I can go from here horizontally. Okay, I can use my ortho on or off. Okay, but I'm going to drag it to the right using my ortho to keep it straight, and you can see the numbers showing up. I'm going to go down and I'm going to type in 500 feet. Enter. So there's 500 feet. Now I'm going to go up this way, 600 feet with the apostrophe. Enter. Now I'm going to go left by 200 on the keyboard, feet. Enter. Then I can say, okay, down here by 100 feet. Enter. And then I can start to drag over here, and if I use O tracking, watch what I can do. I can hover over here and it drops in a little node, and as I get close to that, it's going to pick that point for me. I don't even have to be on it. Click, and now I can go down to this point, click, and then I'm going to hit escape on the keyboard, boom, and I'm done. There's my shopping center. Now maybe my wall around my shopping center is, I'll exaggerate the width and say it's 18 inches wide. So now I'm just going to use my offset tool, which is over here on my dashboard, offset, or I can type in O, I believe, enter, and offset is going to say offset, give me a distance or through, and I'm going to say 18 inches. Okay, if I don't say inches, it'll take it as inches, and I hit enter on the keyboard, and now watch, I'm going to zoom in. Pick on here, 18 inches. 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 Okay? Now I can go in and I can use my fillet command by picking on here and going and getting my fillet command and saying fillet this and this. Enter on the keyboard, this and this. Spacebar on the keyboard, we'll learn that, repeats the command this and this. So that's an 18-inch wall panning along that goes around the outside of my shopping center. Now it looks like it's pretty skinny, but that's because that's an 18-inch wall, and that is a 500 by 600 foot shopping center. I'm going to hit escape a couple times on the keyboard. If I do Z for zoom, enter, and then A, enter, it's going to do a zoom all, and a zoom all zooms me out to my limits or my extents, which is ever is biggest. Okay, and we'll talk about our zoom commands later. So to get started to draw, okay, go in, set your units, set your limits, and then do a zoom all, and then you're actually able to draw what you want. Because sometimes what happens is you're zoomed in like this, and you start the line command, and you click here, and you say, okay, and you go 500 feet in this direction. Notice my mouse is over here, right? I'm just going to undo that back. I'll start my line command again here. Pick a point, drag to the right. It's important which way I'm dragging here. If I drag up, it'll go up. If I drag at an angle by taking my ortho off, it'll go at an angle. Okay. If I drag to the right and I type in now 500 feet with an apostrophe, enter, and then something kind of looks wonky, what's going on, and then you hit escape to get out of your command. Well, the problem is this line is going for 500 feet and it shoots off of the screen. Okay, so that's why we want to set our units, set our limits, and do a zoom all. Okay, I'm going to do that quickly one more time by starting a new project. Watch, I'm going to go in here and hit Q new. Okay, new empty project. I'm going to start. This time I'm only going to draw maybe a dining room table or something smaller. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to type in units, UNITS, enter. I'm going to set my units to be architectural. I'm going to set my precision to be 1/2 inch. I'm going to set my insertion scale to be inches. I'm going to leave this. Done. That's my units. Now I'm going to set my limits, LIMITS, enter. Lower left limit, I'm going to type in a 0, 0, enter. Done. Now it's asking me for the upper right. Well, I only need about, 10 by 10. So I'm going to say 10 feet with apostrophe, comma, 10 feet with an apostrophe, enter. That's my limits done. Now I'm going to do a zoom all. I'm going to type Z on the keyboard, enter, A on the keyboard for all, enter. And now, even though I can't see what happened, I'm looking at a 10 foot by 10 foot space. So now if I go into draw my dining room table and I start line, I can click on here and I can turn my ortho on and I can drag to the right and say, 6 feet, enter, and then up here by 3 feet, enter, and then back here by 6 feet, enter, and then down by 3 feet, enter. And then a final enter or an escape to close it off. There would be a 3 foot by 6 foot dining room table. If I'm going to draw a great big, football field again, then I'm going to set my units to be whatever I want, either imperial or metric, and then I set my limits to be 0 by 1,000 feet or 1,000 by 500 feet. So the limits is what forms the area you want to draw based on the object. You have to know what you're going to draw before you set your limits. Okay, if you don't know what you're going to draw, you can't set your limits. After you do your limits, you do a zoom all. It zooms you out to your limits, and now you're looking at a space that is relatively the right size to draw the object that you want to. I'm going to go back here to window. Back here, what I should do in the very beginning is, before I would say rule I or 1x, is find something to draw and then know the size of that object. Then set your units, your limits, and do a zoom all. Start to draw your object. So there you go.